what we are going to discuss today here, what we have been doing in INBAR as an organization which supports projects in the ground to help restore degraded lands and also create value chains that give value-added economic, what's wrong? That provide value-add economic growth to ecosystem restoration. So with that, I want to first start with a video. If you guys can share the video. Guys, please share the video. Thank you.
The world's ecosystems are depleting very fast. This situation is threatening livelihoods, accelerating the extinction of wildlife species through habitat loss, and posing a bigger danger to the very existence of humans. Deforestation and desertification sit among the top list of contributing factors leading to the loss of forest ecosystems which provide essential life-supporting services. We are at a crossroads, and action is needed to halt ecosystem destruction. The UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration is an important step as it aims to halt and reverse the degradation of ecosystems as part of efforts to address challenges such as poverty, combat climate change, and prevent mass extinction. Bamboo is a fast-growing plant which covers about 35 million hectares globally, has proven to be an important nature-based solution, with demonstrated potential to contribute to ecosystem restoration and provide clean energy and sustainable livelihoods for many communities. The potential of bamboo to check soil erosion, protect water bodies and sequester atmospheric carbon makes it an important nature-based tool to combat climate change. INBAR has been working on a number of projects to mitigate and adapt to climate change through land restoration and sustainable management of bamboo forests and farms, water resource mapping, and bamboo-based watershed management. INBAR is now a partner of the UN Decade on Ecosystems Restoration from 2021 to 2030, with commitments by member states to restore 5 million hectares of degraded lands with bamboo by 2030. INBAR projects in Central, East and West Africa are working to restore over 15,000 hectares of degraded land under the Inter-Africa Bamboo and Dutch Sino program. Under the Restoration Initiative, INBAR is supporting the government of Cameroon to restore degraded land using bamboo. Over 100 hectares of degraded land have been restored so far under the initiative. Smallholder farmers are also being trained in bamboo propagation, climate-smart farming methods, and bamboo agroforestry models to reduce climate change impacts. According to data from the UN Comrade database in 2019, exports of bamboo and rattan commodities reached $3.4 billion United States dollars. This is an increase of 5% in 2018. The wide range of products made from bamboo such as furniture, paper, clothing, and housing construction is evidence of its economic potential to promote green growth and sustainable development when utilized appropriately. INBAR's contribution to poverty reduction under SDG 1 has involved the implementation of pro-poor livelihood development programs targeting smallholder farmers, women and youth in Tanzania, Mozambique, Madagascar, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Uganda over the years. The ongoing Phase 2 of the Dutch Sino Bamboo Development Program in East Africa, for example, is targeting 28,500 direct beneficiaries in Ethiopia, Kenya, and Uganda in livelihood development activities that would lead to poverty reduction. Additionally, a total of 30,000 smallholder farmers, women and youth are also expected to benefit from improved incomes and livelihoods under the ongoing Inter-Africa Bamboo Smallholder Farmers Livelihood Development Program in Cameroon, Ghana, Ethiopia, and Madagascar. Learning from success stories from Ethiopia and Madagascar under the program, 2 bamboo common production and training centers have also been established in Cameroon and Ghana to provide skills training in bamboo product manufacture, job creation and livelihood enhancement for over 2,500 beneficiaries. To promote clean and renewable energy under SDG 7, INBAR, has implemented bamboo biomass for clean energy projects for rural poor households in Ghana, Ethiopia, Tanzania, and Madagascar with over $3 million United States dollars worth of investment in the sector, with funding support from the German Ministry of Education and Research and the International Fund for Agricultural Development. Bamboo biomass can be used directly as fuel wood or modified into charcoal for cooking and heating. It can also be gasified for thermal and electrical energy generation. Between 2009 to 2013, about 35,458 households have benefited from the use of bamboo charcoal and bamboo firewood. 216 medium-scale enterprises have also been supported to produce bamboo charcoal energy-efficient stoves for local communities. INBAR has also put together a task force on bamboo for renewable energy, with experts from 12 African countries to develop voluntary guideline standards which would enable countries to conform to the best standards as established by the African and the International Standards Organization. Identifying environmentally sustainable and affordable building materials has become important in meeting the housing needs of many. Bamboo provides safe, affordable, and environmentally friendly housing materials, as seen across different parts of the world. Contributing to sustainable cities and communities under SDG 11, INBAR has implemented projects to promote bamboo-friendly housing by developing and marketing panel-based housing systems, bioclimatic and disaster-resilient bamboo housing technologies in Madagascar, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Uganda with support from partners such as the International Development Research Center. INBAR's task force on bamboo construction through its South-South Knowledge Transfer Protocol is working to integrate bamboo into strategic housing and infrastructure plans as a means of providing affordable housing to bridge the rising housing deficit. Sustainable consumption of the world's natural resources is at the heart of the Sustainable Development Goal 12. Bamboo has proven as an excellent renewable resource with thousands of documented uses that can substitute materials with high carbon emissions and reduce pressures on forest resources. Therefore, degraded land restoration activities using bamboo may not only be helping reverse desertification or combating climate change, but also serving as a sustainable natural resource material for green growth and economic empowerment for many people and communities.
These are some of the examples that show that the value added that bamboo can bring to ecosystems restoration. I hope along today you will witness and you will hear from our speakers more examples that will be eye-opening for all of you here with us today. With that, I want to give the floor to the Deputy Director General of the International Bamboo and Rattan Organization, Professor Lu Wenming, to give us his keynote remarks. Professor Lu, you have the floor.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor and pleasure for me to deliver the keynote remarks on this important INBAR side event, Bamboo for Ecosystem Restoration and Green Growth, at the 15th Conference of the Party of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. INBAR is an intergovernmental organization with its secretariat in Beijing of China. It has 48 member states, mainly from the Global South, and with permanent observer status at the United Nations General Assembly and the 3 Rio conventions, including CCD. INBAR is a partner of the United Nations Decade on Ecosystems Restoration from 2021 to 2030, joining efforts with UNEP, FAO, and other international organizations to restore forests and landscapes. Ladies and gentlemen, bamboo is an integral part of the forest, culture, livelihoods of over a billion people worldwide. It grows in an estimated area of over 35 million hectares across some of the most biodiverse and carbon-rich areas of the tropics and subtropics in the Africa, Asia Pacific, and the Americas. In addition, bamboo is a versatile plant with thousands of uses and applications, and its internal production and consumption is valued at about $69 billion in 2019, with an international trade of over $3 billion. This giant woody grass has 1,642 species and is one of the fastest growing species. It can be effectively used to restore forests, degraded landscapes, and ecosystems. The advantage of bamboo is its livelihood environmental nexus. Bamboo is a food, feed, and fodder. It provides a sustainable raw material sources of diverse value addition ranging from timber, energy, fiber, construction materials, lifestyle products, composites, health, medicine, and cosmetics. Bamboo is proved to its high carbon sequestration capacity and provides a wide range of ecosystem services, notably soil erosion control, water recharge, wildlife habitat, and diverse products range from and enterprises at different scales. Bamboo can be a nature-based solution for many development challenges. Bamboo is indeed a low-carbon alternative to emission-intensive materials such as plastics, PVC, steel, hardwood, and concrete, as well as making an important contribution to green large new infrastructure projects like the Belt and Road Initiative. In the African context, as you will hear today, bamboo offers also an opportunity to restore pressure on wood forest resources as a suitable bioenergy, timber alternative, feeder, and fodder, hence preventing deforestation and forest degradation and at the same time restore degraded land. Bamboo can be suitably used for large-scale employment at rural and urban areas, additional income, and overall green and circular economy. Overall, bamboo can be a potential resource to achieve AFR 100 and Born Challenges targets. Excellency, INBAR's program and projects across the past 2 decades demonstrate that the triple bottom line benefits can be possible with bamboo and rattan. Bamboo and rattan subsector provides millions of green jobs and brought rural people out of poverty. In this regard, it is important to mention that the INBAR member states have committed to restore 5.7 million hectares of degraded land with bamboo by 2030 as a contribution to the Born Challenge. I can assure that we will continue working tirelessly to support our member states to meet this commitment. Excellencies, I would like to reiterate that bamboo and rattan has enormous potential to contribute forest and landscape restoration, and I hope by the end of today, you are also convinced of this capacity to improve the health and well-being of the people and of the planet. Thank you, and I wish all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Lu Wenming, for your keynote remarks and for showing us the potential that bamboo can bring to ecosystem restoration and all the activities that can be done with bamboo. I would like to request our audience to please close your microphones because I can hear some noise on the background. I would request please to close your microphones. Thank you. With that, I will start the session today with our panelists. Our first panelist today is Dr. Tamirat Teshom. He is the Director and Researcher in Forestry and Climate Change Adaptation and Mitigation at the Ministry of Agriculture of Ethiopia. He will introduce today the potential bamboo sector contribution for green development in Ethiopia. Dr. Teshom, you have the floor in the next 15 minutes.
Thank you, Bora. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My presentation for today is a potential of bamboo sector contribution for green economic development in Ethiopia.
Excuse me, Teshon, 1 second. Excuse me, guys, can you please share your the presentation of Dr. Teshon? Thank you very much.
It says INBAR.
Okay, now it's showing. Teshon, now it's showing in the screen.
Okay.
No problem. And when Dr. Teshon tells you to pass the slides, please support him. Thank you.
Thank you once again. My presentation is on the potential of bamboo sector contribution for green economic development in Ethiopia. Next slide, please. This is the outline in brief. Next slide, please. Okay, I'll bring your attention to give you a general information, the potential of bamboo in Ethiopia. As we know, Ethiopia has a great potential to become a leading high-value bamboo producer and supplier in Africa. As you know, we have the largest bamboo resources. The bamboo species that we have are two, the indigenous species of Oldinia alpina and Oxynentra abyssinica. Together, we have also introduced some 22 exotic species to adapt to our agroecology. We believe that bamboo is a strategic plant for land restoration in meeting the commitment of African 100. So, in this regard, Ethiopia has took to restore 15 million hectares by 2030. We also believe that bamboo is a key for green growth initiative, especially the green legacy initiative that is underway in Ethiopia. We use bamboo as a key plant for restoration. It also plays a great role in meeting our national determined contribution, where it is the national adaptation plan also really puts bamboo as a key element for us. However, having all these potentials, our global market participation is less than 1% in terms of export and import. What bamboo makes is important for our economic development is its contribution for GDP, and it supports nearly 750,000 households directly for their economic development. So, next slide, please. In doing so, we have a very good policy support in forestry sector. We have revised our forest proclamation and endorsed our proclamation in 2018, which is called proclamation number 1065. It ensures sustainable development, conservation, and utilization of bamboo forest resources in general, in particular bamboo resources. This proclamation strongly supports investors with various incentives. In the meantime, this bamboo resource is recognized as a tree or a forest in this our revised forest proclamation for the first time. So following that, we developed a bamboo strategy and action plan, which is going to be implemented from 2019 to 2030. This strategy and action plan has 10 main strategic direction or development directions. Really, they articulate the potential of bamboo to develop national program and projects. In general, nearly 51 public and non-governmental institutions have a stake in the implementation and realization of this strategy. Next slide. Let's look to the right and incentives that has been given by our proclamation for the forest developer or investors. Any investor who will be engaged from local or foreign can acquire a land in accordance to the federal and regional administration. Then he can obtain a certificate of deed, title of deed for his land. The proclamation also allows local and foreign to sell their product to local and foreign markets after they develop the bamboo forest, they can free professional support from the government how to develop, conserve, and utilize and trade it. The other right is the transfer of the possession. If you develop a bamboo forest, you will have a right to transfer your possession to your families or others. You can also benefit from the carbon credit sale or a custom service. If you develop a bamboo forest in Ethiopia, you can, in the future, you can get a loan from forest fund, which is going to be established in the future. Or you can also get loan from the private bank. Recently, we have made a discussion with the private banks. They are willing to support the bamboo sector in giving loan. The other thing that they can get compensation in terms of if they, in case of there is expropriation of their possessions. If you develop a bamboo forest in Ethiopia, you will be exempted for tax and land rent for at least 2 production years. These are some of the incentives that are being given for forest developers in Ethiopia. Let's look to the bamboo resource base in Ethiopia. We know that bamboo accounts nearly 4.2% of the global resource, Ethiopian bamboo resource. Ethiopia has a bamboo resource which is estimated to be 60% of the African bamboo resources. In 2018, we have estimated the bamboo resource. It's nearly 1.47 million hectare. It still covers 8.3% of the country's total forest area. Imagine how bamboo has a great importance to development forestry. When you look to the area coverage of each species, Oldinia alpina covers nearly 115,000 and Oxytena abyssinica covers nearly 1,332,000 hectares. So the large proportion of the resource we have is the lowland bamboo. Next slide. During the implementation of this strategy for sustainable development and utilization of bamboo resource, we need to look to this 10 strategic direction, the potential program of or projects that we are going to look for. Once we have established our bamboo resource assessment, we need to cluster our bamboo resource according to their speciality. For instance, the lowland bamboo is suitable for charcoal. The highland bamboo is suitable for furniture and other product lines. We have a large amount of bamboo resources in the highlands, especially the natural bamboo forest. So the strategic direction 2 indicates we need to develop sustainable management of the existing bamboo resource. We also need to establish a new plantation as well. The key element is developing the value chain. We have large scale, medium scale, and low scale industries in Ethiopia, but the value chain is still very low, so we need to work on that. We have to create an enabling environment for market development as well. Strategy Direction 6 invites to invest on innovation, research, and promotion of traditional knowledge on bamboo resources. The Strategic Direction 7 invites to invest on human capital building and knowledge management system is still low, so if we wish to ensure sustainable development and utilization of bamboo resource, we have to manage that. And develop partnership and mobilization of resources is very important. We know we have a resource, we have developed a policy, but we have to pull in so many resources to develop projects and programs that can really ensure us sustainable utilization and development of bamboo resource. Finally, we need to monitor and evaluate. We have to create enabling environment, institution, and governance. We have the forest, Ethiopian Forest Development is a new institution that has been established. Now we have regional offices as well, line offices as well. So we have to strengthen these institutions in order to realize our strategy and policy. Finally, we have to monitor and evaluate our strategy. When you think of a sustainable development of bamboo, when establish a new bamboo, we encourage to undertake suitable bamboo plantation in all land ownership. In Ethiopia, we have 4 types of bamboo or forest ownership. The first one is a smaller private bamboo forest. actively we have to involve the bamboo development and utilization aspect. The second type is the communal bamboo forest, where users are organized in groups developing a bamboo resource. At the same time, they are engaged in SMEs. The third type is the association bamboo forest type. We have a big forest enterprise. For instance, we have Oromia and Amara region. Oromia Forest Enterprise and Amara Bamboo Enterprise. They have to really engage in the utilization as well as in the development aspect of bamboo resources. But the large amount of bamboo resources still remain in the state-owned bamboo forest. For instance, when we mentioned the Kafa Bamboo Biosphere Reserve, there is a large amount of bamboo reserve in a state-owned bamboo forest. So, the focal ministry, the Ethiopian Forestry Development, is planting, starting from 2020, around 20,000 hectares every year, starting from 2021 through mobilization of public funds. So we really have potential to increase the bamboo plantation up to 3 million hectares. So this effort has been started in 2021 and it will continue in the future. Next slide, please. When we look to the product lines, any investor who is going to, next slide, please. Any investor who is willing to come to Ethiopia as a local or foreign investors, there are some principal bamboo product lines. For instance, the industrial value chain is the main one. They can produce bamboo panels for flooring, ceiling, borders, curtains, sticks, table mats, incense sticks, and toothpicks. They also can be engaged in lowland bamboo for producing bamboo energy for charcoal, briquette, and pellets types. There are also, most of the SMEs are engaged in producing bamboo crafts and basketry. Bamboo mats is also a potential. Bamboo can be used also for construction material, which is less utilized, but it has a prospect to be utilized in the construction sector in the future. Bamboo for furniture is also a potential, and bamboo pole these are some of the product lines that the investors could engage in the future. The utilization market, majority are the small scale industries, the cottage hand tool making industries. They do make bamboo bats and baskets. Almost majority of them are the small scale industries, but little we have medium scale industries which are engaged in semi-processing machineries. Still a small number are in large scale industry for both semi-processing and processing the final product. We can mention the SA Bamboo, the Adal, the Abraham, Bamboo Paradise, Wainu Group are the coming industries in the future who are going to tap the market in Ethiopia. Having said that, there is a great potential to loan providers can work with one or all three categories with respect to promoting industrialization in Ethiopia. Next slide, please. In order to ensure sustainable development and utilization of bamboo resource requires a consistent institutional setup and governance. As I have earlier said, the forest governance is guided by our Forest Revised Proclamation 1065, which was endorsed in 2018. This revised policy has 3 pillars which allow or ensure sustainable development, conservation, and utilization of bamboo resource. The bamboo resources are administered by regional states, and the federal focal institution called Ethiopian Forestry Development under Ministry of Agriculture is mandated to implement the forest policy. So having that, the underlying regional institutions are responsible for implementing the revised proclamation of 1065 to ensure sustainable development and utilization of bamboo. Finally, I'll look, next slide please. We have really challenges in ensuring this development and utilization of bamboo resource. As a whole, at country level, we don't have a forest stewardship certification process. This is really important to enter to the European or any market. You need to have the forest stewardship certification. It is so we need to have to develop that, and we lack a national standard for a stewardship certification. We need to develop a national standard which can be used by any certifiers which are going to certify our forests. Still, we don't have a low level of awareness for certification and chain of custody of bamboo forest and other forest types. We still have a poor coordination among responsible institutions like Ministry of Agriculture, Industry of Minister, Investment Agency. So we have to strengthen our cooperation, low-level investment in forest sector because of the gestation period and people do not prefer to be engaged in forest sector, but we have to encourage. This especially the new forest proclamation invites, the incentive invites the forest investor to be in bamboo sector. So the other challenge that we have is the low level of loan system of for bamboo sector investment. The opportunities that we have at hand is we have feasible policy bamboo strategy which exempts tax and paying for land rent. We will incentivize investors to be engaged in bamboo sector. We have a prospect of establishment of forest fund from royalty fee payment. We are going to establish in the future the forest fund that investor can access this fund easily in the future. This is one of the prospects. The availability of large bamboo resource base is also an opportunity to engage in sustainable development of bamboo resource. Wider opportunity of local and foreign markets. We have either we can regionally or locally we have a large market potential, existence of cheap labor and suitable land, existence of good incentive for investor for forestry investment. The great opportunity that we have is the China African Bamboo Training Center, which is coming to be realized very soon, which is a very good memory for us. So this is also the other potential. Finally, I will come to the way forward. We need to introduce rattan species. We don't have rattan species in Ethiopia for sustainable development and enhance the utilization. We only have bamboo resources, so we have to introduce this rattan species in the future in Ethiopia. We need to establish bamboo industrial park in collaboration with Ethiopian Investment Commission. We also wish to enhance the loan mechanism of bamboo industry investment in collaboration with private bank. We need to negotiate with private bank to give loan to the private sector. We need also to push the forward effort of decision makers to finalization of China African Bamboo Training Center is going to be established in 6 hectares in Addis Ababa. So this is also the, we have to finalize very soon the process. Finally, we have to work strongly to establish the forest fund by making a legal framework and a law and enhance certification of bamboo forest, increase the bamboo product standards so that we can enter to the global regional market and ensure sustainable utilization of bamboo resources in the future. Thank you for your attention. This is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Teshom, for your great presentation. I think you have mentioned 3 things that are key. One of them is the strategy and action plan, which is one of the key tools to enable the environment of the bamboo sector. That is absolutely essential. The second thing that you have mentioned is certification. That is something that in many member states we are also trying to work to with certifying bodies to have more to do more work on that. But it is of course it is always a difficult area in the bamboo sector. And the third thing that I think is also essential is investments. You have mentioned the China Africa Bamboo Center in Ethiopia, which will be indeed a great opportunity for the bamboo sector, not only in Ethiopia, but in the whole East African region. So thank you very much for your presentation. I will go to our next speaker today, who is the Director of Global Programs of INBAR, Mr. Jajaraman Durai. He is joining us online from India, but he is based in China, in INBAR headquarters. And he will be today talking about community-based land restoration with bamboo. And he will share with us experiences and lessons learned in the field. Durai, you have the floor in the next 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Borja. Please confirm, can you hear me?
Yes, Durai, we can hear you and we can see your screen.
Great, sir. So, good morning to the participants in Abidjan, and good afternoon and good evening for the other participants in Asia and in other continents. I'm glad to see many friends who present in Abidjan also online. So, my presentation is on the community-based experiences of developing bamboo restoration aspects. As you know, the degradation of the forests, croplands, the rangelands threaten the livelihood, well-being, food, water, energy security, and resilience of millions of the people around the world. And over 2 billion people, over 2 billion hectares of land are affected by land degradation, and because of that, the soil fertility, the biodiversity, the carbon stock is largely diminished. And more than 1 billion people live in the degraded lands. This is the broad picture. So, to mitigate this, the international communities, especially this United Nations Convention to Combat Acidification, the Convention on the Biology Diversity, ICU Biodiversity Targets. So they have created the international and national commitments. As you know, in Africa, we have this AFR 100. In Europe, we have this ECCA. And in Latin America, we have this initiative 20 by 20. And globally, we have this bond challenge, declaration, and other aspects. INBAR, to contribute to the bond challenge, to contribute to this, we have pledged with the support of our our member state around 5.7 million hectares, or around 6 million hectares. To be planted by 2020, as my friend Bora have indicated in his speech. To provide a general overview, we have 1,642 species of bamboo. 35 million hectares of bamboo is found, but the size and the volume of the bamboo will be twice the current estimate, because only few countries have reported it. And billions of people depend upon bamboo by growing, by value adding, and by consuming as well. Around $70 billion of internal production and consumption, and 3.5 billion of international trade annually through bamboo only. Why bamboo is good for landscape restoration? The landscape restoration from many international organizations perspective is not only to restore, it is to provide the entire comprehensive services in addition to restoration, which includes the food security, energy security, improved resilience, improved biodiversity, jobs, income for people contributing to gender, preservation of the community and culture, and moreover the ecosystem services. So if you see this aspect, how bamboo can contribute to all of them. That is why bamboo is very important for the landscape restoration. I want to reiterate the point which our Deputy Director General indicated about the livelihood, environmental access. Bamboo can provide jobs, bamboo can provide income, bamboo can provide employment, income, money, and at the same time it is important for the environment, be it climate change, be it soil and water, be it the biodiversity, be it food, shelter for animals and so on. Bamboo is, as I indicated just now, it is good for biodiversity, it is good for sustainability. It is tree, it is a grass. So it produces a shoot annually, so you can harvest it annually, and it provides the value addition possibility. If you selectively harvest it, the underground rhizome, the current, the branches, the leaves are intact, which is providing this ecosystem services. it is like the tinier species, it can grow in like some forest of like some poor soil, and it can grow in the rich soil as well. It is drought, flood, and like fire tolerant. As you like may know, some species of bamboo can grow till like 1.2 like meters a day. No other plant in the world can grow at such speed. So it is the Ferrari of all like every plant. The key areas where INBAR intervene is we support our member states through projects in demonstrating technologies like some models for setting up nurseries for producing quality planting material. Plantation for like regreen, the sustainable management, harvesting, your value chain to increase uptake. So it means INBAR projects and activities which mostly covers the entire value chain, starting from the planting material production, choosing the species, the site species selection, developing models for plantation, developing models for the sustainable management and harvesting, and the value addition, so that we cover the entire spectrum. In nurseries particularly, we support the governments. For example, in the previous presentation, Somi spoke about the government of Ethiopia's plan to increase the planting material. INBAR will work with the government of Ethiopia in a particular case to support them to set up the government nurseries, support the government private nurseries, NGO association nurseries, individual farmer nurseries, support the universities and like research agencies. So we work on this whole spectrum. For some countries, the plan, the intent is to set up the government plan, and in some countries the intent is to run the private nursery. So our nursery support covers the whole spectrum. Restoration or plantation through like bamboo, we can do like various methods of plantation or like restoration. We can do like millions of hectares through a large scale like deforestation, small half an hectare or like some quarter an hectare of like the communal woodland planting, smallholders of agroforestry planting, planting as a shelter beds, planting as like a farm boundary, block planting in the farmland. So we promote all these kind of plantation like some model restoration stuff, and we do undergo like some research and provides the technical advice on how to get it done. And then the sustainable management and harvesting is another important area which we closely work. As we know that bamboo produces shoot every year, which means the different poles in a clump is of different age, and it mandates harvesting of the old poles. If you don't harvest the old poles, the cows die, it will deteriorate, and it will go without any use, and it is also a hazard for the plantation. So sustainable management and harvesting the mature bamboo poles is like very important area which we advocate all our like member states like wherever we have projects. And then we train them, like in capacity build them, develop models on how to sustainably manage the forest, how to manage the bamboo intensely in farm, and so on. So, I want to showcase few case studies of how bamboo has contributed to large-scale restoration, and we can adapt it to our context. The first case is China. China, they have planted 3 million hectares of bamboo in the last 40 years, and the majority of them in form of forest. Even though the planting is done in forest, the harvesting, the management is done by the communities and the private sector. And the majority of the bamboo planted belongs to one species or a selective few species. The government provides incentives in the form of the land tenure, the harvesting rights for the communities, association, planting rights, the loans, developing infrastructures like the roads, connectivities, and so on. And through that, in the past decade or in the past 3-4 decades, we could be able to increase 3 million hectares. And the bamboo industry now contributes to like $36 billion economy internally, and it provides job for around 10 million people. I want you guys to notice on the below chart here. If you see, the natural bamboo is like some 61%. The bamboo outside the forest is only like some 40%. But if you see the private, means like if you see the managed bamboo is 86%. The unmanaged bamboo is only 14%. Though the bamboo grows like mostly in the forest, the private sector or the communities are the ones who are like managed. That is why they could be able to generate like more income, more jobs from like bamboo. Another case is in India. We have set up this national bamboo mission through the government of India, like some funding. The government supported the whole value chains, including like some setting up nurseries, plantations, and in the past 10 years or so, if I'm not wrong, 500,000 hectares of plantation has been done. There has been effort to increase the productivity of the bamboo in the forest, which is too low, which is about like 1 ton per hectare. And the intensity is to increase more. And if you see the land tenure, the ownership, 80% of the bamboo are inside the forest, which is not like some managed. There are 10 important like some commercial species, incentives, and like some subsidies being like provided because we have like some multiple bamboo species. The bamboo from the harvest from the forest is not managed. It is not allowed to harvest. Only the bamboo in the private land can be harvested. Because of that, the industry don't have like much growth. The bamboo sector is still in the pre-industrial development stage or in the earlier industrial development stage. The supply chain and industry needs further development. Though the resource is there, the focus on the species is like missing. The supply chain integration is like missing. The species selection choice is like missing. We have a right to harvest the bamboo from the forest land is like missing. These are all some gaps. I want to like compare and contrast these two so that it provides you an idea, and you choose the best model you wanted to use. So what can be the key approach we can take? The important thing is we need to focus on like a mechanism to consume the bamboo in scale. Scale means like if you want to plant bamboo in huge volumes, you need to have like a market for the bamboo in huge volumes. So we need to focus on the mass consumption product, like the pulp and paper, INBAR-based product, energy, shoe. Some few products which I have indicated here. Focus on the product which is consumed in mass, so that the bamboo growers has the market demand for the produce. You can see here in the slide, this is an industry in China which they are producing lignin, like some cellulose from like some bamboo. These are all few pictures from the project site where the bamboo is being used for producing some food, for like the pulp and paper industry, for like fuel wood and so on. And it's no single bullet or like a simple solution. The countries, the developers, sorry, can focus on creating the demand for the bamboo product. You create the initial market pool. If you have as a market, the growers will automatically grow any crop, including as bamboo. You put it in policies, strategies, and plans, investment and incentives, and converge to like resources across the value chain. So this means the policies, strategies, and plans has to be according to the development stage. In China, they are in stage 5, means the post-industrialization stage. See, in Ethiopia, they are in the pre-industrialization stage. So we have to make policy strategies and plans according to the level of our growth, not like somebody's plan. In addition to plantation, in addition to like a market for the tools, it is like important to create additional income sources like the payment ecosystem services, carbon credit, like grid mechanisms, and other things can add in the resources. The cluster-based species-specific bamboo resource development, plus the sustainable management, plus on-farm processing is key. Don't plant bamboo whichever seed is there, I want to plant. Always plant bamboo for depending upon the end use you are planning for. The agroclimatic regime you are place located on. Develop the administration model in successful enterprises in like focused cluster. This means don't spread the bamboo development initiatives across the country in day one. Develop like few models in few clusters. Once this like a model becomes successful, the scaling up, scaling out, like replication can happen on its own or with very minimal efforts in the process. Optimize the product structures. It means if you see in countries like Ethiopia, in countries like India, in countries like say the countries outside China, if the biomass utilization of like bamboo is too low, it means you use 100 kilogram of bamboo to produce like 15 kilograms of like stick. It means 70 to 80% of the biomass is gone into like waste. Develop the proper supply chain, develop the circular model so that you increase the utilization rate. Innovate according to the market preference, create an overall enabling the environment. For like bamboo, it can do like wonders for the ecosystem. As my previous speakers, including my director general, he like mentioned, bamboo is very good for ecosystem services. It is good for soil erosion control, like water, like recharge, soil improvement. Plenty of like research INBAR has done, like plenty of scientific papers has been like published in this particular area, and we can engineer bamboo to enhance the ecosystem services and enhance the livelihood development. And with this, in the interest of time, I want to stop here. There's many thanks indeed to all of you for listening, and there's many thanks for organizing this side event and inviting me here. The floor is yours, Doha.
Thank you very much, Durai. Thank you for the presentation. I think you provide a great overview of the situation of the bamboo sector in India and also some gaps that need to be addressed in India, and also I think those some of the problems that you have mentioned are also happening here in Africa and also in Latin America. So I think you provided so many suggestions that can be very useful for all these three regions. Thank you very much. With that, I will go to our next speaker of today for the interest of time. Our next speaker is Dr. Rajesh Kaushal. He is the principal scientist of forestry at the Indian Institute of Soil and Water Conservation. He has He unfortunately he's not able to join us live today, but he will. He has provided us a pre-recorded presentation that will be played from our friends here in the UNCCD. Yes, this you have to. There is the audio included, so please play it. Thank you.
Today I'll be speaking on the topic bamboo for restoration of degraded lands, and I'll be talking particularly.
Can you make it louder?
Context. My dear friends, I'll be sharing my experiences on the work done in 7 different.
It's not loud enough. The audio is included in the PPT, so you just have to play it and then just put it as loud as possible. Yeah.
We are ICR, Indian Institute of Soil and Water Conservation. We are located in the Himalayan foothills in Dehradun. We have pan-India presence and working in 8 different centers in different agroclimatic regions of the country. We are working with the vision of conservation and management of soil and water resources of the country. Our mission is mainly to develop sustainable technologies for controlling land degradation and enhancing productivity. We are also Center for Training in Research Methodologies and Updated Technology for Soil and Water Conservation and Watershed Management. As we know that land degradation is a major problem worldwide, which is affecting 2/3 countries of the world, 1/3 of the earth's surface and 1/6 of the world population. We talk of India, about 120 million hectare area is affected by different types of degradation. And as we know that land degradation is a major problem worldwide, which is affecting 2/3 countries of the world, 1/3 of the earth's surface and 1/6 of the world population. If we talk of India, about 120 million hectare area is affected by different types of degradation. And out of this, 79% is accounted by water and wind erosion. About 20% of the degradation is caused by chemical and 1% by the physical degradation. The revised soil erosion budget further revealed that gross erosion rate of the country is 15.6 ton per hectare per year, which is seriously affecting river basins and reservoirs of the country. There are many important features of bamboos that make them ideal choice for rehabilitation of degraded lands. Its fast growth rate, annual current production, and ability to improve soil properties help in meeting many sustainable development goals. Bamboos also contribute in meeting many national and international goals like Bonn Challenge and Paris Agreement, to which INBAR and member countries are signatory. Despite of huge benefits, the adoption of bamboo in the country is not very encouraging, which is mainly attributed to lack of data on different bamboo species. Keeping above in view, Indian Institute of Soil and Water Conservation initiated research in collaboration with INBAR and State Forest Department. So far the results have been very encouraging, which I will be sharing with you in the next slides. Bamboos, due to large and evergreen canopy, intercept the rainfall more efficiently and helps in preventing soil erosion. Our research trials reveal that interception losses in different bamboo species range from 23 to 34% with average value of 27%, which is much higher as compared to any broadleaf or conifer tree species. Our results have further shown that species like Dendrocalamus hamiltoni and Bambusa nutans, they are more effective in checking interception losses and ultimately contributing to checking soil erosion. Roots are very important component in checking soil erosion. In general, root system is categorized into coarse root and fine roots. Coarse root provides support function to the plant, while fine roots helps in binding the soil. The result from our study revealed more root biomass in Dendrocalamus hamiltoni, Bambusa vulgaris, and Bambusa bambus. Results also revealed that majority of the roots in bamboo were present in top 10 centimeter layer. This was about 30 to 33%, while 70 to 84% of the roots they were in top 30 centimeter soil layer, which indicates their role in checking splash and sheet erosion. Also, it was observed that in case of Dendrocalamus hamiltoni, maximum contribution of about 80% was through fine roots, which indicate better efficiency of this species in checking soil erosion. Higher coarse biomass in case of Strictus and Bambusa bambus indicates that the species can be taken for stabilization of slopes in conjunction with the deep-rooted trees. Not only canopy, but litter in bamboo also plays a major role in checking land degradation. Our study revealed that litter fall in different bamboo species range from 8 to 12 mg per hectare per year, which is much higher as compared to the tree species. Further, slow decomposition rate of litter in bamboo due to high silica contents make them good mulch material for soil moisture conservation and adding organic matter and nutrient into the soil. The mulch is also effective in checking runoff and soil loss. Hydrological studies in 7 different bamboo species in Himalayan foothills revealed significant variation in runoff and soil loss. Dendrocalamus hamiltoni, due to large canopy and efficient root system, was found most effective in preventing runoff and soil loss. In Bambusa balcua and Dendrocalamus hamiltoni, there was about 50% reduction in soil loss. Soil health improvement. Bamboo, due to addition of organic matter through leaf litter, dead branches, culm sheets, fine roots and other related biological processes, helps in improvement of soil health, which is evident in terms of improvement in soil physical, chemical and biological properties. Our study in 6-year and 12-year-old plantation in 7 different bamboo species revealed that all the soil physical properties, they improved both under 6-year and 12-year-old plantation as compared to the fellow plots. The roots in litter and decomposition, they help in secreting organic acids that help in binding the soil particle, which helps in increasing the aggregate stability and yield rate diameter, which is directly related to the soil erosion. Roots also create macropores by pushing the soil when grow or by creating the channel when dies. It helps in improving the permeability and hydraulic conductivity, which can lead to more groundwater recharge. Now, high silica rich litter on decomposition add organic matter and nutrients to the soil, which helps in improving soil chemical properties. However, these improvements are usually recorded on long-term basis, as evident from the present study, where not much improvement were recorded under 6-year-old plantation under 7 different bamboo species. It has also been observed that due to high potassium requirement, bamboo should be given additional potash if commercial crop has to be taken. Now from North India, I'll take you to the western part of the country where gullies and ravine formation are major problem caused by soil erosion. And it is mainly due to the major river system, that is Yamuna River, Mahi River and Chambal River. In India, about 1.04 million hectare area is under ravine area, and cultivation of bamboo can be very effective for checking the land degradation in these areas. For this, Institute has developed a number of bamboo-based technologies which can be used for treatment of gully lands throughout the country. Now these are bamboo-based live vegetative check dams, and they have been found very useful, particularly for the stabilization of the small gullies. They are very low cost in nature, and they have been successfully evaluated in the Rowan region of western part of the country. And usually while making the check dam, 2 rows of bamboos are grown at a close spacing of 2 into 2 meter in a staggered manner, and the distance between the 2 check dam, it is usually kept at 10 to 15 meter. And these check dams have been found very effective in absorbing more than 80% of the rainfall. And the runoff reduction and soil loss reduction has been achieved to a greater extent. Further, the benefit cost ratio of these check dams have been worked out to be 2, thereby making it profitable. And particularly in the area where low moisture is there, Dendrocalamus strictus and Bambus albambos species, they are recommended. And the area where the bamboo plantation is difficult to establish, then offsets are considered as better choice for establishment of these light check dams. In high rainfall area, easy to root species like Bambusa vulgaris and Dendrocalamus hamiltoni can also be used as poles for making the check dam. Now this is bamboo-based silviculture system, and this technology has been developed for the rehabilitation of ravine areas which are affected by the water erosion. This technology mainly involves growing of Sanchrociliaris grass on the side slopes which are prone to soil erosion, and in the gully beds usually Dendrocalamus strictus species, it is grown in a staggered manner. And during the initial stages when the bamboo plants they are young, at that time the interspaces they can be utilized for growing Sanchrociliaris grass. And about 7 tons per hectare per year of green grass yield is obtained from the stabilized gully slopes, and during the initial year about 10 tons per hectare per year grass yield can be taken from the gully bed portion. And this system can yield 1,000 bamboo poles after 7 years, and it has the capacity to absorb more than 80% of the rainfall. And the results further have revealed that the soil loss in this system is reduced to less than 1 ton per hectare per year from about 20 ton per hectare per year. And if you see the benefit cost ratio of this system, it is about 2.09, thereby indicating its profitability. And this technology has been successfully demonstrated in the degraded ravine lands in the western part of the country. Bamboo plantations supported by check dams. Now these bamboo plantations, they mainly aims for stabilizing the large gullies. And in this series of urban check dams, they are constructed based on slope and runoff generated. And the urban check dams, they are usually made from plastic cement bags. And then 3 rows of 3 bags are kept at the bottom and 2 in the middle and 1 at the top. And on the top portion of these bags, soil is filled, and the soil is also filled on the sides, and on this soil generally grass is grown to make it more or less a permanent kind of strip. And in between these dams, bamboo plantation usually 4 into 4 meter is planted. And after some time, this acts as a very good check dam for checking the runoff and soil erosion. And this system is capable of providing 3,000 poles per hectare with the net return of $1,233, and the benefit cost ratio is 1.96, again indicating its profitability. Hydrological behavior of all the 3 structures reveal that bamboo with earthen plug are most effective in checking runoff and soil loss. However, when cost factor is taken into account, bamboo as live check dam are more effective in checking the runoff and soil loss. Then coming to important issues. So first one is lack of awareness. Now despite of huge potential of bamboo in land degradation, it has not been able to find the desired place in the land restoration program in the country. And this is mainly attributed to the lack of scientific data and evidences. Therefore, there is an urgent need to develop database on the restoration potential of important bamboo species. There is also an immediate need for the capacity building of the stakeholders. Then second is the development of bamboo-based models. Now, there is an immediate need to develop and standardize bamboo-based models based on appropriate species, spacing, and management practices, which so far is in the lacking state. Then is utilization of degraded lands for bamboo plantations. Bamboo, due to large evergreen canopy, competes with agriculture crops and are not best choice for the arable land. Appropriate degraded lands therefore should be made available, whether under purview of revenue or forest department through lease to the interested farmers. There is also an urgent need to identify the hotspots for plantation of bamboo using new scientific tools and techniques. Then one of the important is payment for ecosystem services. So based on scientific data, it is established that bamboos in watershed provides many ecosystem services for which there is no incentives for the growers. Therefore, there is an immediate need to develop policy for providing direct incentives to the stakeholders who are involved in the bamboo plantation program. Then next is assessment of strength and life of the bamboo structures. So R&D efforts have led to the development of bamboo-based soil water conservation structures. These structures, however, need to be evaluated in terms of strength and life cycle in different agroclimatic zones, which so far is in lacking state. The lack of quality planting material. This is one of the very serious issue which restricts the adoption of bamboo-based models. For example, in India, Dendrocalyptus strictus cover major chunk of area due to lack of availability of other species. Therefore, there is an immediate need to initiate program so that supply of other species can also be met out. Then is dissemination of bamboo-based restoration technologies. With extensive R&D efforts, few bamboo-based technologies have been developed by many institutes. These technologies, however, need to be disseminated to the different end users, for which collaboration is required between different agencies. So to conclude, we can say that land degradation is one of the major problems worldwide and need to be addressed at top priority. And bamboo is ideal choice for land restoration due to its characteristic features. If we go for the choice of the species, then Dendrocalyptus strictus and bamboo bamboos can be the suitable choice for the areas with low rainfall. Further, it is recommended that in moisture deficit area or semi-arid areas, trenching can be used for enhancing bamboo productivity and improving soil moisture regime and choking soil erosion. The bamboo-based structures and silviculture system can be a cost-effective solution for gully bed stabilization. Species such as Dendrocalyptus hamiltoni and Bamboo vulgaris can be comparatively better choice for meeting both soil conservation and production needs. And last but not the least, there is an urgent need to develop database and extend the bamboo-based knowledge and technologies to the stakeholders so that their potential can be fully utilized. So my sincere thanks to INBAR, IFAD, European Union and Uttarakhand State Forest Department for funding the research. The technical support rendered by INBAR and INDIM is duly acknowledged, and last but not the least, I am highly thankful to all of you for your patience listening and sparing your valuable time. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajesh, for your presentation and for sending us all these inputs despite not being able to be with us, but it's very useful and it answers some of the questions. Sometimes we get questions, a lot of questions regarding does bamboo, for instance, consume a lot of water? So you provided some answers that I think are important. The use of bamboo to regulate the water table to recharge water grounds is one key scientific evidence of also that bamboo can also be useful to regulate water tables. So thank you very much for that. With that, I will go to our next speaker today, who is Mrs. Claudia Daza. Mrs. Claudia Daza is the chair of INBAR Global Task Force on Bamboo for Renewable Energy, and she's also a member of the ISO, the International Standards Organization, at the Technical Committee 296. She will be talking today about the added value to restoration projects with sustainable bioenergy from bamboo. Claudia, thank you very much for being with us. I don't know where are you because you've been traveling, but yes, you have the floor in the next 15 minutes. Thank you very much, Claudia.
Thank you, Borja. Good morning, everyone. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. But Borja, I wonder, are you sharing my presentation from there or do I share it from my computer?
Please, you share it.
I share it. What? Excuse me? I could not understand.
You share, please.
Okay. First of all, thank you all for being here and INBAR for the invitation. Wait. Do you see my presentation now?
Yes, but not full screen. If you want, we can share from here.
Is it full screen now?
Yes, now it's good. Go ahead.
Okay, but I have, do you see my notes? No, just full screen, right?
Yes, just full screen.
Okay, okay, perfect. Can you please turn off your microphone because now I have a double, okay. Okay, I'm here to talk about bioenergy and adding value to restoration projects and bamboo projects with bioenergy. First of all, why bioenergy? Bioenergy is really important to meet strict climate targets, and we know that, okay, bioenergy will increase the consumption of bioenergy over the coming decades, and the required bioenergy supply should at least double in the coming decades. Given the increasing demand, new sustainable biomass supply chains are needed, and in this context, bamboo can play a really key global role. The large global trade of solid biofuel commodities, it's above 200 million tons per year, which mainly relates to solid biomass in the form of chips, pellets, and charcoal, which are mainly produced from wood. The main importing region is Europe globally, and mainly imports wood, chips, and pellets from the United States and Canada, but also charcoal, which is mainly produced in Africa, which unfortunately is not depicted in this picture, but this is really, really a key biofuel commodity also imported in Europe. And in the coming decades, it is also expected an increasing use of sustainable fuels and related increasing exports from the global south, which are key regions for bamboo producing regions. Okay, bamboo is in terms of biomass supply and for the biomass markets and biofuel markets seems like to be kind of an ideal biomass crop. Why? Okay, I will not go into the details because we've heard quite a lot today, but the most important is that it's really one of the fastest growing crops, resistant to climate changing conditions, requires little amounts of fertilizers and pesticides. This is key for the life cycle assessment and life cycle emissions of complete biomass chains. Intercropping is possible, etc. And of course, we've seen as an alternative to address climate change and sustainable development. Now, we know the popularity and markets of bamboo products is increasing and has increased over the years, being China the major global export player, but other countries can also develop competitive value chains within traditional and emerging applications such as bioenergy. Okay, in terms of the global availability and potential of biomass supply chains, it's a bamboo is widely available in the global south, and we know that it has a large potential to establish plantations, and what is bringing us here together as a restoration alternative of degraded lands, most of which, again, are in the global south, bamboo-producing countries. And this can contribute to the local and international biofuels markets, providing opportunities for some producing countries, which are also key players in the required transition from fossil to biofuels traits, like in Africa, in South America, etc. And okay, one of the key aspects that has been mentioned already in this event is that most of the natural stands are not properly managed because there's a lack of incentives, and this is leading to natural resources degradation. So next to providing alternatives to restoring degraded lands, establishing new plantations, we can also aim to the conservation and preservation of natural resources. And bioenergy and other products. Okay, well, I mentioned before, of course, that okay, bioenergy and other products can improve also the positive and long-term impacts and the sustainability of restoration projects. Not only the environmental, but also the socioeconomic. In the context of climate change mitigation, bamboo production systems and value chains can contribute also with carbon sequestration and carbon stored in the durable products, that is like the common markets of bamboo. Producing bioenergy allows the substitution of fossil fuels and the related avoided emissions. So then we help to mitigate climate change by lowering greenhouse gas emissions. And of course, we know we've seen that bamboo systems are high carbon storage systems. Now, bamboo systems, but this is important, are high carbon sinks and can store equivalent or even more carbon than trees. This is mainly related to the large root system, which, depending on the species, as we saw in the previous presentation, the ratios are, yes, changes between species. But for example, here we have an example of a Latin American species, Guado angustifolia, that is native to Latin America, for which about 80% of the carbon stored in the system relates to the underground and to the below ground soil. Okay, so then again, we have really high carbon storage in bamboo systems. But when a bamboo forest or plantation is not properly managed or harvested, the carbon storage potential decreases. Then we need incentives for the proper management of bamboo systems, like established plantations or existing systems. And bioenergy, biomass production from bamboo can provide alternatives. One of the questions that are always asked within the bioenergy community is like whether producing bioenergy from bamboo will lead to deforestation. This is not true. It's actually quite the opposite. It can contribute to the proper management and preservation of these resources. And why? Okay, we know that different from trees, after reaching maturity, bamboo culms decay and die. And for the proper management, these culms need to be removed, which stimulates the growth of new culms for highly productive systems. So we need to continuously remove material from bamboo plantations and established systems to allow for the sustainability of these systems. Okay, in terms of like the requirements, the sustainability requirements for international markets, this can be, okay, as just a general overview, this can be the sustainability of biomass production can be certified with several recognized schemes, among which FSC and PFSC. In terms of greenhouse gas savings of replacing fuel, so this leads, okay, this is related to climate change mitigation, and according to the European Union accounting methodologies for greenhouse gases savings of replacing fossil fuels with biomass, for example, here for power production with bamboo, the savings can be even from 70%, that is the minimum required to enter the markets, let's say, to up to 300%, depending on the source of the material, which then results on bioenergy production, avoiding emissions of fossil fuels emissions, plus carbon storage. So this makes this feedstock really, really attractive. However, again, there are limited assessments on the benefits of carbon benefits of deploying bamboo biofuels. This has to be done. Now, okay, just an overall, again, an overview. The bioenergy production can contribute to circular bioeconomy developments, where resources from forests and plantations, sorry, I have to move here, from forests and plantations can, and from management and bamboo processing residues and end-of-life products. Here, like as I mentioned, the bamboo industries are really low efficient, have a low efficient resource use. So like about 40, 50, 70% of the processed material are residues. So these residues can be valorized into bioenergy applications, improving, of course, the economic viability of bamboo processing industries. So there are different conversion technologies. I will not go into details. We can produce solid fuels, liquid fuels, gaseous fuels, non-fuels. Also, this is also quite a key application, like here for char and biochar, that is also key for climate change mitigation and improving soil properties, especially in the global south. And this biochar can be, and fertilizers can be returned to forests and plantations, then again contributing to circular bioeconomy developments. There are different applications, traditional applications for cooking and heating, but also emerging applications for advanced biofuels. And there's something that I would like to point out, the industrial co-processing. We have to look also bamboo as a feedstock or as a fuel that can be integrated in existing processing industries, like for example in the metallurgical processes, in co-processing in cement industries, and so on. So next to having the opportunity to help to replace these products, we can work together also with these sectors to help to improve their environmental and carbon footprint by replacing their fossil fuels with bamboo fuels. Okay, now. Okay, there already bamboo energy applications exist and are developing. We see there's a combustion and electricity plant in Japan. There's coal substitution in China mainly with solid fuels from residues of bamboo processing, because they have plenty of residues. There's electrification via gasification in Indonesia with the government subsidized project. In India, the first large-scale biorefinery of producing bioethanol with co-producing chemicals. This is the first of a kind project, so we have to see what happens with it. And of course, there are many projects of charcoal, and also gasification is largely promoted in Africa. And there's an announced plant of pellets production in Brazil. However, despite the progress, there's a large untapped potential for developing bioenergy value chains for local and for the international markets. Okay, I will not go into details, but I can just say that bamboo can comply with all the key requirements of bioenergy markets, like which are the security and of supply and scalability potential, because of course you want, mainly for the international markets, you want to be able to produce and to scale up in different regions, in different countries. The technical specifications also of bamboo as a solid fuel, as a biomass fuel also comply. There's some challenges also that I will not deal with within this presentation, but it can comply with technical specification and the sustainability, socioeconomic and environmental sustainability. Maybe here one just to show like one of the key technical advantages of bamboo, Vodis bamboo, as compared to traditional or emerging alternative solid fuels or biomass, like the properties, the physical properties of bamboo are quite similar to those of wood, like different than, for example, like agricultural residues, than that of straw and so on. So these are really relevant for logistics and cost, which are key for the economic viability of developing biomass value chains, right? Okay, here, okay, we see like some processing in Colombia, like a traditional harvesting, and in China, which is much more advanced. You see that you can ship the material, transport it, and so on. Okay, in general, okay, we can say, okay, and again, comparing with alternative biomass feedstocks that are being looked out there in the global markets, the total cost and benefits along the complete value chain can be favorable for bamboo. The chemical and physical properties are superior to those of agricultural residues, and these are key advantages for production and logistic costs. And I repeat, these are key for the economic viability of biomass and biofuels markets. The high sustainability potential, which leads or can lead to public acceptance, which is also key, because the biomass sector and the bioenergy sector has quite some opposition also, and there are concerns from the public also about sustainability. So we have to demonstrate that, and we can demonstrate with bamboo, when things are properly planned and properly done, that that it can be sustainable, so we can assure public acceptance. And of course, like, okay, we've mentioned, has been mentioned before, developing integrated value chains with potential additional market opportunities like carbon markets, payment for ecosystem services, can improve the competitiveness of biomass value chains from bamboo. Again, detailed assessments are needed because this is, bamboo has been kind of overlooked also for bioenergy applications in a larger scale, let's say. We face many challenges that need to be addressed. First of all, developing sufficient bamboo supply chains that can supply sufficient volumes of biomass to enter really into biocommodities market. And one of the challenges is the uptake of the feedstock by bioenergy end users, mainly by large-scale bioenergy end users, but I mentioned coal power plants, cement industry, large users. And this is needed also to drive the development, because we suffer here a little bit of a chicken and egg of unbalanced supply demand. So the uptake of end users can drive the development of the supply chain. And of course, we need to perform and have critical assessment, techno-economic and sustainability assessment of the complete value chain from the biomass production, conversion, trade, till end use. And to connect, this is probably the most difficult, all relevant stakeholders, again, from biomass producers to end users, also including policymakers and decision makers, from the public, private, research and development, civil society, and so on. Because to access markets, we need sufficient and reliable information, and mainly, once again, to access international markets. Okay. A long-term vision and strategic approaches are required, and bioenergy can be a key driver for the development of competitive bamboo value chains. High-value applications already exist, but this can be expanded. And bioenergy markets, once again, can drive the sector development in many regions. The biofuels markets are very large. The prices and the cost, the markets, the price market, the value market is low, but the volumes are large. So as compared, for example, chemicals, the volumes are small, but the prices are high. So, but then we have to look into integrated value chain. And we propose like somehow kind of a stepwise development of integrated value chains, which including started first with bioenergy for the local and international markets, while countries develop also the local capacities to be competitive in high value application markets, because you need technology, you need quality, you need volumes and so on to be able to access these high value application markets, also international markets. All right. I will not go into details again because we've talked, this has been talked a lot, but that of course bamboo can developing integrated value chains with different multiple applications because of the multiple benefits also can of course contribute to the SDG, but I would like to emphasize in the SDG number 17 and to finalize my presentation with an invitation to establish strategic partnerships to point out also the importance of establishing strategic partnerships to unlock the potential of bamboo, because we need to mobilize investment with multi-stakeholder, public-private research development and intersectorial partnerships and international cooperation. Once again, establish strategic partnerships with fossil fuels intensive sectors also, like I mentioned, but I repeat, coal power plants, cement, steel, also the cogeneration in agro-industrial sectors that have already installed capacity to produce large-scale biofuels, bioenergy, like in this case electricity, chemicals and material sectors, mining or refineries, etc. And promote research and development with interdisciplinary approaches to assess the socioeconomic and environmental risk and benefits, and to do the proper planning. And this is really key with risk-based approaches. And of course, develop technologies and propose proper business model. And to finalize, to include bioenergy as an integral part of valorization options and in integrated value chains for the sustainability of restoration projects. Because once again, if we don't create markets and incentives for the management of these established plantations, let's say, the chances of success diminish. So with this, I would like to finish my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Claudia, for your fantastic presentation. I think also Dr. Techon was mentioning earlier the importance of partnerships to mobilize investments is key, and that is something that we have been discussing all this week here. And I think most of the member states, most of the governments, the countries, the organizations, the NGOs which are here, they are all looking for that, for partnerships to mobilize investments and resources to benefit, in our case, the bamboo industry and the rattan industry, but in their cases also to support their own countries or their own agendas. So thank you for that. I will go with our last speaker. We will have later a session or a Q&A session, so please stay with us, all our speakers. But our last speaker today will complete a fantastic panel. Is Mr. René Kamp. He is the director of INBAR Regional Office in Central Africa, and he will be assessing the potential of bamboo as an opportunity to restore degraded forests and landscapes. René, you have the floor. Thank you for joining our panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Borja, for the floor given to me. So I'm very lucky to be the last speaker, because then my predecessors have pretty much set the scene. As Borja have said, I hope I'm loud enough for everybody online. So for those on site, I would like to also to draw your attention to the table at the center of the room, where we've displayed some bamboo and rattan exhibits. Please enjoy what we can do today thanks to technology. So back to my presentation, I will talk about opportunities for degraded forest and landscape within the context of ecosystem restoration. So I will look at it from three angles: the global restoration movement, the potential for bamboo restoration, and the initiatives where bamboo is playing a role. So why do we need to restore? Basically because we have increasing pressure on land, we have decreasing size of land that are usable, and unfortunately the poor are disproportionately affected by these changes, and COVID-19 has proven it. So we have increased pressure on land, and one of the reasons of this increase is the population growth. Today we estimated at 7.9 billion people, and by 2050 we are looking at I think today is 9.7 with the impact of the COVID and the restrictions. So this is going to put an extra 69% in terms of resource need terms of food, in terms of energy, and all of this is going to further increase pressure on land. In terms of decreasing utilization of land, we see that 47% of forests are degraded or deforested, and 1/3 of land is highly or moderately degraded. So these are land which are not very productive, especially for agricultural purposes. So, as I said, the poor face the most severe part of the land degradation. When the land is not able to provide ecosystem services, the poorest are the most vulnerable people, and it echoes the fact that this is a challenge that we need to look into it. But there is hope because with the restoration initiative assessment, we're able to see that we have 2 billion of hectares which are able to be restored. And if we do restore that, I think it's going to significantly contribute to restoring our land. In terms of targets, international initiative like the Bond Challenge is looking at restoring 150 million of land by 2020. I think it's time to have to take an inventory of that initiative. How much have we been able to restore? We also have the New York Declaration looking at 350 million of hectares by 2030. I think there we still have time, but we need to act. We need to act fast. So today, what is the scenario we have today, and what is the scenario we are looking at? The scenario we have today is that forest is degraded, agroforestry systems and agricultural systems further contribute to deforestation. We need to try to intensify production, restore production, try to put production in mixed systems where we have multiple benefits, so that in the vision of 2050, we have a balance of agriculture, agroforestry, and forestry without contributing to forest degradation or land degradation. That is the way forward, and it might be the only way forward, as we don't have a B planet. We only have one planet. And one way to do that is to look at a very much mosaic restoration opportunity approach, where we don't only go for a single species, we go for multiple species and multiple approaches. That will help us restore a lot more of land. We are not talking about things that are impossible. We've seen success cases, and this is one. If you look at this, you will see South Korea in 1960, the land was totally degraded. But over a period of 50 years, they have been able to totally restore those land, and the benefits are there. The forest cover has increased by a percentage between 35 and 64%. The forest density has multiplied times 14 times. The population has doubled, and the economy that people are able to derive from this forest is 25 times more than what they had when we were at a degraded level. South Korea is not a standalone case. On this slide, I tried to show a little bit what are the benefits of forest restoration. And we have some countries who are really trying to do something. In addition to South Korea, we have the US and Costa Rica. We see how jobs have been able to increase over the years. We see how soil erosion, they have been able to decrease soil erosion. They've been able to increase wood supply, which is something people think that when you sustainably manage your forest, there's no way you can get more wood. But sustainably manage the forest has proven that you can actually get more wood from that. So we have protected water, recreation, biodiversity, climate benefits. All these have increased from a period of 1920 to 2010. So this is the way we need to go to be able to meet our end needs. So why bamboo? I think the argument has been overstated already by my predecessors. I'm going to run over it very fast. So in the 21st century, we need to reassess the plant that we use and how we use them. I think there is an overexploitation of few species in the forest, and some other species are neglected. So we need to rethink the way we use our forest. Plantations currently provide less than 50% of the world demand for wood. So if we only rely on our plantations, it is clear that we cannot satisfy our needs. We need to rethink about that. Bamboo is one of the fastest growing plants in the world, and we have over 1,662 different species identified in the world. Bamboo sustainability provides a key way of dealing with the contemporary natural resource deficits that we have. So these are some of the reasons why we should consider bamboo. In addition, we have rapid maturity. In less than 7 years, you basically have the material you're looking for. We have bamboo can be grown on marginal degraded land that is not good for agriculture, that may not be good for any other land uses. That is where you can plant bamboo and you are likely to have a good plantation. Reduce inputs, less chemicals, less fertilizers, less watering. Basically, it is a plantation where you do not need to pour in too much attention. Soil regeneration. So the rhizome binds the soil, protects against erosion, landslide rhizomes. So that's another reason why we should consider bamboo. Ecological benefits. It's permanent. The canopy creates thick layer. The litter fertilizes the soil. We have water benefits where bamboo is able to raise the water tables and makes the water much more available to humans and other living organisms on the world. We have livelihood development. So selective harvesting requires continual labor. Bamboo is a labor-intensive industry. So if we develop bamboo, we are directly creating jobs and a means of livelihood for a lot of people. So this is the rhizome systems, which gives bamboo its special quality to be able to restore land and reduce degradation. Also, on this table, I tried to compare the carbon sequestration potential of Moso bamboo and the Chinese fir. So we see that the mean annual carbon sequestration of Moso is 5.1 tons per hectare compared to 2.97 tons per hectare for the Chinese fir. Same thing for the total carbon stock over 60 years. The Moso bamboo accounts for 305 plus tons compared to 178. And if you look at the carbon dioxide equivalent over 60 years, we have 1,100 plus tons per hectare compared to 640. So this is a scientific argument that the carbon sequestration potential of bamboo is very high. So on the one side, it can be used for livelihood creation. On the other side, for climate, to fight against climate change and restore land. And in terms of the monopodial bamboo, we have 1 to 2 hectares per ton, and for the sympodial, we have a much higher, between 2 to 4 tons per hectare of carbon sequestered. As my predecessors have said, bamboo plays a direct role or could help countries achieve 6 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that we have mentioned. I will not overemphasize that. So in terms of using bamboo for restoration, what are we doing in Cameroon? I just wanted to take Cameroon as a case study because that's where I'm based. We have the restoration initiative funded by Jeff and is implemented by IUCN and INBAR in Cameroon, where the government of Cameroon has a target of 600,000 hectares, which has to be restored with bamboo within the Bond Challenge commitment of 12 million hectares of degraded land. So that's one thing we are working at, and it's going on very well. And then we have the Intra-Africa program, which is looking at 10,000 hectares of bamboo. So apart from countries like Cameroon, we have cases where bamboo has actually been used to restore land, and I want to share a few. We know in India, bamboo has been planted on severely degraded land, the result of an intensive brick-making industry. So in 20 years, the water table has risen by 10 meters. The agricultural crops, the trees have been incorporated into the landscape, and they're doing well. So due to the success of this story, the project has been expanded to over 100,000 hectares of degraded land in 600 villages. So this is a success story that we could look at. Colombia and Nepal have also tried. We know in Colombia we planted guava bamboo in degraded soil. It has improved soil quality, it has decreased soil compaction, and so many other benefits. So it creates a more porous soil, which makes water circulation easy. It makes rooting of other crops easy with a lower bulk density, quickly restore crucial ecological functions. In Nepal, a similar planting has helped reduce soil erosion and floods damage. I'll quickly rush over China because I think my director of global program, July, talked about China. But China is a case, it's really a success case where bamboo is at the same time used for ecosystem restoration and also for high-end economic product. So we know that in Ghana in the 1970s, the North Badan Hills Forest Reserve in the Ashanti region has been destroyed due to logging, cutting and burning of wood for charcoal, and activities of herders, migrant, nomads, bushfires, and all these things have heavily contributed. We know that the Eco Planet Bamboo, which is a private company working on bamboo, has established a 2,800 hectares for commercial bamboo, and this has not helped only to restore the forest, but is providing bamboo material for fiber production, for toilet paper, for packaging, and it's a case that we need to keep in mind. So the planted bamboo has replaced trees that has been destroyed by bush fires or cut down for charcoal production. The bamboo develops shoots, foliage that fill the space between the remaining stands of trees, and this has brought back wildlife on this degraded land. We know birds, bush animals that previously lived in the forest are now starting to return to the forest thanks to this. And even the leaves of all these bamboo planted is now currently used for fodder. We can use bamboo leaves to feed most of the ruminants. We have studies on that, and these are published. You may refer to our website to have details of the results. So I would like to conclude here for in the interest of time. So globally, there is growing pressure on land due to food, fuel, and fiber. This is backed by a growing population because our land size is not growing, but our population is growing. So this pressure is going to grow. Bamboo can be one of a range of options to rapidly regenerate degraded land, reduce soil erosion, and provide livelihoods benefit. Restoration objectives need to be clarified, opportunities mapped, and managed plan identified to ensure sustainability. I would like to finish with this image, which really pretty much summarizes bamboo. So this is a winter period. We see a heavy snow. Bamboo bends during the snow, but it doesn't break. So we can capitalize on these skills of bamboo to be able to restore our degraded ecosystems. On that, Borja, thank you very much for the floor.
Thank you so much, Rene. What a great panel and what a great presentation. Thank you, Rene. I think you have tapped into many of the issues that are key for this session. The carbon sequestration potential of bamboo is a great opportunity for restoration projects. Also, you have given examples, the example of this restoration initiative in Cameroon, funded by the Global Environmental Facility. And also, of course, the example of China, the example of China restoring degraded lands and translating it into an economic opportunity. I think that is a crucial example of how bamboo can be used for economic development and to also reduce poverty. So we have also in our panel today, we have had examples of how to use bamboo for ecosystem restoration. We have our friend from Ethiopia, the great work that they have been doing there in using bamboo for restoration. We have also the example from Cameroon. We have also brought some scientific evidence from our scientists in India, also from the director of global program of INBAR. And also we have shown the potential of bamboo and how it can be used for bioenergy. I think it's a very complete set of how bamboo can contribute to ecosystem restoration. Now with that, I want to have the floor opening for questions to our panelists from the delegates here present in the room and also those who are at home. I would encourage those who are joining us online, please use the hand raising tool in the Zoom meeting. And those who are here, I would also encourage them to raise your hands and let us know if you have any questions for our panelists. Thank you. Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I am Matlama from Lesotho. We have been listening to successful stories about this project. And as Lesotho, we got fascinated. But what we heard of this bamboo tree is that they grow in tropical areas and subtropical areas, some sort of. So we are situated in the southern part of Africa. So we would like to know if we can be assisted to get engaged into this project, more especially when it comes to this capacity building. Can we be incorporated in that process, and to see if our terrain can allow the growth of the bamboo tree?
Where are you from, sir? May I ask? Lesotho. Okay.
Thank you.
I think I will leave that question to Rene. Rene, do you want to reply to that question? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much. Do we take a round of questions, or do we reply directly? Which one do you prefer?
Reply directly, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Maklaba, thanks very much for your question. INBAR is pretty much very interested to work with Lesotho to build your capacity on how to use bamboo. Can bamboo grow in Lesotho? I would say yes, because we have bamboo in South Africa. So I will assume that their agroecological conditions are pretty much the same. Which species, I will not be able to say now because I did not do some research, but we have what we call site species matching, where we conduct some scientific research to be able to advise you that if you want to grow bamboo in this particular agroecological zone for this particular product, this is the appropriate species. So we can do that. We can do that with you. Maybe one steps you have to take, or to ease our work, if you're a member. We have 20 members in Africa and 2 observers, and Lesotho is not part of it. So maybe if you become an INBAR member, it will make our job much more easier.
Thank you very much, Rene, for your reply. We have one question from our chat box in Zoom, which asks, what are the emissions costs in base year in bamboo cultivation? Since Rene, you have also talked about the potential of bamboo for carbon sequestration, I will also leave that question to you.
Well, the initial emissions when you establish a bamboo plantation, I think that would depend. It will really depend on the land use. If you are shifting from a very degraded land to establish bamboo plantation, I would say your initial emissions will be more about your transportation or footing, because technically the land where you are establishing your plantation was already highly degraded. So the initial emissions are very small. There could be huge emission if you are deforesting to establish bamboo plantation. If you cut the forest to establish bamboo plantation, then you're releasing carbon into the forest. And that is not an approach we encourage. We strongly discourage the destruction of forests to establish bamboo plantation. We encourage the use or the planting of bamboo on steep slopes, degraded land, poor soils that are not appropriate for forest or agriculture. So from that perspective, I would say the really initial emissions when you establish a bamboo plantation is more related to transportation, more related to heating yourself, and this kind. The emission per se from the land use is negligible.
Thank you, Rene. We have another question from delegate here at the venue. Madam, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm Cecile Jabet. I'm based in Cameroon. I'm coordinating a regional network of women. We are 20 in Africa and 20 countries. And I have one observation and one comment and one question. The comment is from the lady who presented the bamboo value chain. I was really impressed by how she linked the production up to the market, to the users. But my question is, based on that comment, maybe to her, but also to Rene, especially to Rene, who has shared that in Cameroon we have an initiative going on there where the government has allocated 100,000 hectares for restoration. So my question, and the fact that you are saying we can restore it with bamboo in the very marginal land. So we are present, we are doing some restoration activities in the mangroves. Can the bamboo stand into the mangroves area? Because this is a very swampy and degraded area. If the mangroves can be planted there, I think that will be great for our women who are involved in that, because they will then, as I saw with the lady, that we can have bioenergy from bamboo. I think that will solve this pressure communities, people are putting on the mangroves woods. That's the first. The second one is we have committed as Refacov of planting 20 million trees as our contribution to the decade on ecosystem restoration. So my question is to you and to you all: how can our network of women in Africa collaborate or partner with INBAR? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. I think I will leave that first question. The second question of the woman, I will leave it to Durai first. Durai, how can INBAR work to integrate women into the decade of ecosystem restoration in Africa? Durai, are you there? I don't know if Durai is there.
Yes, I'm there.
Please,
but your voice is unclear, but I heard the voice from Madam, which is good, but the voice from your particular mic is unclear.
Okay, so the question is, how can we integrate women into the decade of ecosystem restoration with bamboo in Africa?
Yes. I think in all our projects, we are very conscious to integrate women. The target is 50% in most cases, but it is hard to achieve always. But there are particular enterprises segment where the participation of the women is quite simple. Example, producing planting material, craft product, the industry. If you see the industries in Ethiopia, my friend Shomi can vouch for it. The industry, machine operators and the workers in the industry, 80% of them are women. If you see the craft, value chain, I think the majority of them are women, particularly. So there is a possibility to integrate women, and also bamboo being a material which is not too hard to split or too hard to process, too hard to carry. So it is quite simple to carry. So splitting processing is quite simple when it compared to it. So integrating women into the bamboo value chain is quite simple. But as I understand, how we can integrate the women's group and the women's organization into our work is the main question, if I'm not wrong. So possibly the organization can work together if we can find the resources. So the organization where Madam is from and if other organizations are interested to collaborate with us, we can look into the possibility of the strengths and weaknesses, and we find a mechanism to coordinate, and we find a mechanism to generate resources and implement the project together. I hope I'm able to answer the question you had.
Thank you, Rai. Rene, since you are mentioned here, do you want to complete?
Well, I think in addition to what Durai said, we are already paying particular attention and we are very sensitive to gender issues. So to know that these women has pledged 20 million trees to be planted as a contribution to ecosystem, I think there is ground for us to build your capacity in nursery, bamboo nursery development, so that you can include bamboo into this 20 million that you want to plant. These are discussions that I'll be very happy to entertain when we are back in Cameroon and see how we can maybe start from Cameroon and see how we could expand it to other places where your network is based. We try to maintain at least, I think it's minimum 35% of our beneficiaries to be women, and I think an already organized group like yours is a very interesting target for us. So I think we can work on that. The other question on mangroves, when going through the literature, I haven't seen a case where bamboo has really been used for mangrove restoration, but bamboo has been used in mangroves rehabilitation, where it is not planted, but the bamboo comes is used for other structures that helps in the rehabilitation of the mangrove. But bamboo is really used for the stabilization of river banks to fight against erosion. That I know a lot of cases. We even have one in Cameroon in the Benue River, where we've planted a belt of 9 meters of bamboo with a spacing of 3 by 3, and it has helped a lot because the Benue River was really eroding and getting into people's farm and creating conflict and everything. So that we have cases. In terms of mangrove, I don't know maybe if Durai has cases where we've used mangroves. We use bamboo to restore mangrove vegetation. As far as I can remember, I don't remember any case. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think you are quite right. We have not used like bamboo as a plant which is alive to like restore. The bamboo culms are being used like widely in some Southeast Asia, mainly in Thailand, to slow down the speed of the heights by planting with bamboo as like a biological fence there. The bamboo which is harvested. So then it provides like a mechanism to protect from the sea erosion and like rehabilitation of the mangroves. And as like basic rule, we cannot plant bamboo underwater. If bamboo is a system which is having like rhizome, it needs something for breeding. Of course, we have selected few species in like some Southeast Asia, mainly in Cambodia and in other places. There are like some few species which can grow in an inundated land. But like the majority or like most or like all the bamboo species cannot survive under like water. So it can survive the flash flood, but it cannot survive under the water for 3 months, for like some 6 months. So like the picture what like Rani is showing now, it can be used for the mangrove like rehabilitation. Thank you. The floor is yours, like Mohan.
Fantastic. Thank you, Durai. I think you both answered the question very well. I will give the floor to the gentleman who has been asking for it for 10 minutes. Thank you very much, gentleman. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Benjamin Camo. I'm from Liberia. And as you may know, Liberia is in the tropics, and we have a huge hectare of mangrove. And the reality is that in Liberia, we don't pay attention much to mangroves. And the reason why, because half of the country is forested. So we pay more attention to the trees, to the big trees than the small trees. But again, thank you so much for your presentation. I followed INBAR very closely for the past 10, 15 years. For every COP, I try as much as possible to visit INBAR exhibition. In fact, the last COP in Glasgow, INBAR was there. At the UNE 5.2 that was held in Nairobi, Kenya, there were some representatives of INBAR. And here again, INBAR, again, I want to say thank you for the role you play in terms of mangrove conservation and the wise use of mangroves. And what I can say here is that I'm prepared to offer my service to promote INBAR activities in Liberia. I think it is a unique opportunity where we have almost 60% of the young people looking for opportunities. And I think bamboo provides a unique opportunity in terms of shelter, in terms of land restoration, incentives, and others. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. I have time just for one more question. Do we have any question from here? Yes, the gentleman here.
Thank you, Chair. I'm sorry, I have two questions. I wanted to know, like bamboo, all the presentations that were done, I mean, it talks about economies of scale. I am from Mauritius. It's a very small island, and we have our land, our farmers have also very small plots of land. So I was thinking what we could do with bamboos for very small and medium enterprises, except apart from handicraft. This is one thing. The second thing was, when you have such plantations, do you have any association that you could do with other crops or other agricultural commodities? Like, you know, when you are growing trees, of course you can associate that with honey or livestock. Does bamboo do that? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I will leave the question about the bamboo for the first question, the first part of the question about how can bamboo support the small and medium enterprises to Mr. Durai. Durai, go ahead.
I think we have to think like the enterprise, like some possibilities from like some bamboo can be of like some multiple scales. You can have an enterprise with only the knife, you have it at your house for producing craft and the furniture product without like much value addition. And at the same time, we can have an industry with an investment of like $1 billion USD, producing, having like a business turnover of like the 1 billion USD per year. So the huge enterprise possibility is there. So what could be a suitable scale of enterprise, like some possibility in African context is probably anywhere between like $500,000 USD to like 1 million USD. There are few enterprises in Kenya, there are few enterprises in Ethiopia, there are few enterprises like some coming up in Uganda or already in Kenya and Uganda, between the scale of $500,000 to 1 million USD. Producing the panel-based product, producing this based product and so on. It's making like a much more like simple for the entrepreneur. It is important for the enablers like the governments, the development projects to create an enabling environment, particularly in the form of the supply chain. So if we have like a robust like some supply chain, then the cost of investment can be brought down. So any scale is like some possible, but if you are talking about the industrial scale, then $500,000 US to $1 billion US can be like a very good money to have an industry. I think Roha, do you still have time, or do you want to like make me short?
Better to go short because they are pushing us to finish. We have
okay, fine, yeah. I think...
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes. Continue.
I'm done. So, yeah, I think this is the crux of the matter. The crux of the matter I have already said.
Okay.
Okay. Rene, do you want to complete the second part of the question of the gentleman?
So in terms of agroforestry, I think the rule of thumb is that you cannot intercrop bamboo with nutrient-intensive crops like maize, rice, millet, but the rest are pretty much fine. The science that you have to understand is about the buffer zone or the rooting system of bamboo. Usually you need to allow a buffer zone of 1 meter from the clump. And in terms of root penetration, bamboo goes somewhere around 30 to 40 centimeters. Then you have 2 growing seasons. You have when the canopy is open. When the bamboo plantation is less than 3 years, the canopy is open. So for shade intolerant crops, you can intercrop them at that level. And from the 4th year, bamboo closes the canopy. So from the 4th year, you start intercropping with shade tolerant crops. So we have a lot of publications on that, success stories where bamboo is intercropped with pepper, with yam, with sweet potatoes, with cocoyams. So the research is there. I think we have a lot of nice publications from India on intercropping bamboo with other agricultural crop. And it's one of the things that we encourage farmers to do, because the variety of crops they have in their repertoire, the more resilient they are to effects of climate change.
Thank you so much. I would like to, before we close, there's many people requesting the presentations. If you want the presentations, I would advise you to email us at info@inbar.int, and we will come back to you with the presentations and also additional questions. Before we close, I want to do 2 things. The first one is, of course, to thank our panelists. I think they have shared great experiences that are very useful to all those present here. Also, I want to thank everyone who has come here to show their interest on the bamboo sector, which and just to let you know that INBAR, the International Bamboo and Rattan Organization, is ready to support you. Please come to us, contact us. We can share here our business cards. We are happy to support you. That's why we are here. And we want to work with you to attract resources to your countries and to support the bamboo sectors in your countries. So thank you very much for being here. That is very important for us. The second thing, before we close, I want everyone present in this room to come here by the screen, just in front of the screen, to take a picture all together, including the technicians also. Everyone here, please come. Yeah, just here by the exhibits. And everyone who is joining us from the Zoom, please turn on your cameras. We will take a picture together with you in the background, so please turn on your cameras. And we will be sharing the picture with you. Thank you very much. Yuchen, please take the picture of the screen from your side. We will take the pictures from here. Thank you.
Okay.
It's finished.
讲的错了。
转位置。
你看你这张挺好的，对。对，这张挺好啊，这张挺好。
非常我的那张图全从两个都在。
就这样好，这样好。
这次是几个用？好的。